Hello, good evening. Australia have beaten South Africa by 5 wickets in the first match of the World T20. This after South Africa stumbled to 118 for 9 in their 20 overs. But boy, they made sure they made a match out of it as they took the top 3 wickets early. And from there on, Australia huffed and puffed its way to a win, but they would be happy with this performance at the end of the day. I have with me Nikhil Narayanan, and Nikhil Narayan, we know that he loves numbers. So Nikhil, they did make a match out of it. You felt after the first innings, after South Africa were bowled out for 118 for 9, you felt that Australia would just sort of cruise to a win, but took them right to the wire.
Credit to South Africa for making a match out of it. But again, you know, 118 for 9, not enough. We discussed this in the mid-innings show. They needed at least 140, and 140 could have been a winning total. 118 for 9, not good enough. They fought hard. Shamsi was good. Andrik Nokia continued his form from the IPL. But then, you know, experience of Steven Smith, Glenn Maxwell took Australia through.
How would Australia be feeling after this performance?
Okay, a win is a win, but not, you know, not quite, you know, elated. They'll be okay. They've got. It was a tough first match against South Africa, so they'll be okay with the win, but they'll not be, you know, really happy with the, especially with the chase. They should have won this more comfortably.
Yeah. Also, I felt like this was the perfect opportunity for someone like a David Warner or you know, any of their out of form batsmen to come into form. You know, this you could have taken your time. But just the way David Warner got out yet again, I think Australia would have wanted Aaron Finch and David Warner to get some runs in this match.
I mean, that would have been an ideal situation. Warner and Finch getting a 50 each, chasing it down in 18 overs. Didn't happen. Again, Maxwell and Smith came to the rescue. They won't be, you know, they'll be happy that they scraped through in the end. Warner remains a problem. For Australia to go through the semis, Meha, they need Warner and Finch, that partnership at the top of the order to fire. Otherwise, there are better teams in this group and Australia won't qualify.
That's true. It is the group of death because you have Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, who I'm sure will cause some upsets there. So any team who wants to get through to the semis will need to at least win 3 games, right? But one thing that I saw, which could become a trend of sorts in this tournament, is these low-scoring encounters and how it could be anyone's game on that day because one bad over could change the game around. And we saw that even today. At one point, you did feel like South Africa could have won this game.
Absolutely. I mean, when Maxwell was dismissed, I was putting my money on South Africa. But then, you know, just they were, again, 10 to 15 runs short. And therefore, that proved crucial in the end. Yes, but these low-scoring encounters have their own story. They do. I mean, if you score 140, you see those 150, those chases, you know, teams chasing them win comfortably. With 120s, 130s, the match gets stuck. I think it's the approach of the chasing team when there's a low-scoring match. There's something in the psychology of the batsmen in the chasing side. They don't go all out in the initial few overs. They lose a few wickets, become nervous, and then all the drama starts.
And also, I think we see this drama, especially, and we've seen this in the IPL as well in the UAE, where you feel like, you know, a team is right ahead. You know they're cruising to a win, and suddenly 1 or 2 wickets will fall in an over, and the game has completely changed. In similar way, you felt like that. Of course, then you had Maxwell, who scored some runs, you know, who's continued his form, and then Marcus Stoinis. So they'll be happy at least with the way Marcus Stoinis batted in this match.
Absolutely. Marcus Stoinis is a terrific all-rounder. He didn't have a great IPL this season, but he had a great IPL last season. He's also a very you know, big player for Australia in the death overs. He can hit the long ball. He's a good right arm, you know, fast medium bowler. So it's good for Stoinis to come back into his groove.
Let's talk about the match that is coming up today. It is England versus West Indies. West Indies were the winners in 2016, but it has been 5 years since then. Some of those players have aged, though they are the greatest T20 players, so to speak. But how do these two teams stack up? We've got the playing 11. We'll try to get that up for you. West Indies playing 11. But there are a few new names in terms of the spinners.
Yeah.
What do you see when you look at the West Indies playing 11? You have these big hitting batsmen. But will their bowling be good enough for pitches like these in UAE?
See, that is the thing with the West Indies. They have this power-packed batting unit, destructive batting unit, the most destructive batting unit in the tournament.
Correct.
I mean, look at the names. Evan Lewis, Lendl Simmons, Chris Gale, Shimron Hetmeyer, Nicholas Pooran, Kyron Pollard, Andre Russell. It doesn't end the list.
Yeah.
Individually, they can win you a match on their own,
Right.
each of those batsmen. The problem, the test will be their bowling. They have, Ravi Rampal and Dwayne Bravo, but then some inexperience. This Akil Hussain is a slow left-arm orthodox bowler. He's a very good, he's a master restrictor, doesn't pick up many wickets. This Obid McCoy is a left-arm medium pacer who's done brilliantly in T20 cricket. He's around 45 wickets at a strike rate of just 15. So he's a wicket taker. Apart from that, Dwayne Bravo will be very, he will be a big bowler for West Indies. He's been there since, 10 years almost. He's played in all the major T20 leagues in the world. He's a fantastic death bowler.
Yes.
So,
And has just won the IPL trophy and bowled 4 very tight overs in that final.
Absolutely. So, therefore, his experience in the death will be very crucial. He has a brilliant slower one. He bowls the Yorkers. So, Dwayne Bravo will be key. But the bowling doesn't look as strong as the batting. Yes.
That's right. Okay, let's also take a look at England's playing 11. There were a few surprises there. We talked about this before we started this show about Mark Wood being left out, but again recovering from injury. That is going to be one of the issues there for them. Hopefully, they'd want Mark Wood to be fit, and that's what Owen Morgan said, that they are recovering well. But if you look at England again, top heavy, you've got Joss Butler, Jason Roy, there's Dawid Malan, the number 1 T20 player, there's Owen Morgan, of course, struggling for form, Johnny Bairstow, and you can take a look at the playing 11. There is Liam Livingston, Moeen Ali, who, I won't be surprised, is pushed up to number 3, given how well he's been batting. It's sort of the resurgence of Moeen Ali in the T20 format. But then you have Chris Wokes, a good all-rounder. You've got Chris Jordan, a good death over bowler for them, Adil Rashid and Timil Mills. This team looks strong.
This team is very strong even without Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer. See, England have transformed their limited overs unit. They won the 2019 World Cup in the 50-over format, and now they're desperate to win the World T20. They're the number 1 ranked T20 side currently. This team under Morgan has completely transformed itself. It's no longer only a test side.
That's right.
And they want to win this. They won it in 2010. They want to win it again. And Morgan may not be a good captain for KKR, but he's a great captain for England.
For England, true.
So, interesting team. This Mills is one of the most prodigious talents in the English county circuit. He's left arm fast and he's very fast. He's around 145, 150, and he's an excellent death bowler. Excellent death bowler. Picks wickets, doesn't go for runs. So I'll be interested in seeing him today.
The other thing we're seeing now is with teams winning the toss and bowling first. Though I know that we were having this talk again earlier on as to how England would, in their practice games or in training, they were dipping their ball in buckets of water just to make it heavy, to feel like what it is like with dew on. But is that something you're seeing with the teams, or you will see with the teams, because dew is going to be a huge issue?
Dew is a huge issue. Also, chasing is, as it is easy in T20 cricket traditionally, historically. The teams chasing have won more matches. It is true for the IPL. It was very much the case in Dubai and Sharjah in IPL 2021, overwhelmingly in favor of the team batting second. The dew only makes it more skewed. So I'm not surprised in the first 2 matches in this tournament, the team winning the toss has gone on to chase.
How much would that last game that they played, the final in 2016, be playing on their minds, given that Carlos Brathwaite, I mean, he announced himself on the world stage, and of course, we've never forgotten him, as Ian Bishop said, remember the name. But how much of that would be playing on their minds? I know that they watched that final over. West Indies team talked about it. Kyron Pollard talked about it, that they watched that just to relive those moments and have that belief that they can go on to win. But would that have an impact going into this game?
That was a huge match. I mean, 34 of 10 Brathwaite, Marlon Samuels again playing the brilliant knock in the final. He did in 212 also for them. You know, see that game, even though it's been 5 years, Meha, that cannot be taken out from your memories. That was just 19 of the last over, and Brathwaite did it for the West Indies. So I know West Indies are currently ranked number 9. They keep losing bilateral series, but they were also losing bilateral series before 2016. And look what they did. So this team, when it comes to the World T20, they might be playing in the BBL, PSL, IPL, this L, that L, all over the world. But when they come together, West Indies in the World T20, they collectively raise their game. And, you know, if even 3 of the 6 click.
In fact, you can look at that head-to-head record. Nikhil, you can take us through it as to, you know, what those numbers suggest for the two teams.
Yeah, the head-to-head record, I mean, West Indies, I think, leads the head-to-head record. Overall, but the main head-to-head record, which I think is in the next graphic, is that West Indies has always beaten England in the World T20. It's 5-0 in the World T20. So again, West Indies raises their game in the World T20, and to have a 5-0 record against England in the most prestigious event of, you know, the format speaks volume for itself. So 5-0 in the World T20.
Also, the fact that it was after that final that Eoin Morgan sat down with the management and with the English team, saying that we're going to turn this thing around. We've not taken T20 cricket seriously. We've just played you know, domestic T20 bash, but now we're going to go out there and play like how the others are playing. Another reason being that there was Chris Gayle, who blew them away in the group match as well, scoring a century of some 40 balls. But that Chris Gayle is not the same Chris Gayle anymore. How much of a difference would that be for West Indies, given that these guys have aged from there on? 42 years old, Chris Gayle. Kieron Pollard, I think 34, 33. Andre Russell's knees are creaking.
No, you are right. Chris Gayle is certainly not the universe boss in T20 cricket anymore, although he may still want to claim that. Pollard is still a force. Don't go by the age of 34. He is still a big force, one of the most destructive lower order batsmen in T20 cricket. Bravo is not the same batsman anymore, but they have Evan Lewis, fantastic opener. He has a strike rate of around 160 in T20I cricket. They have Shimron Hetmyer, a great finisher. They have Nicholas Pooran, not in form in this season, but when
he gets going,
when he clicks, he'll win them single-handedly. So that team, you know, just has destructive batsmen. If they can keep their mind, they can, you know, destroy any bowling attack.
How much of the pitch and the way the pitches are in UAE will impact England's batsmen? Because we've seen that they like more flatter pitches, you know, the ball's gripping, the spinners from Asian countries are bowling to them. Things are different. They're not the same. Jason Roy's not the same as Jason Roy on a flat track. How much of that would be impacting them?
It would if this match was in, you know, Sharjah, but this match is in Dubai.
One of the better tracks.
One of the better tracks where the ball comes onto the bat. IPL final was in Dubai. It was a high-scoring match, and generally Dubai doesn't give as much purchase to the spinners as little purchase to the fast bowler. Otherwise, a belting batting track, and that will help the destructive batting lineup of actually both England and West Indies. So therefore, this could really be a very high-scoring encounter.
Also, we've got to talk about Andre Russell, and if he gets going, he can decimate any bowling attack, spinners, seamers, you name it, on any surface. But once again, Andre Russell hasn't played, was injured. He's coming back from an injury. West Indies would really want him to perform like he's done in the past.
Absolutely. See, Andre Russell didn't have a great season in the IPL, but let's remember what he did 2 years ago for KKR. He scored 500 above runs at a strike rate of above 200. It was one of the greatest seasons by any batsman in the history of the IPL. So Andre Russell still remains one of the most destructive batsmen in the history of T20 cricket. His strike rate is above 180. You know, his death over strike rate is above 200. His strike rate in the CPL is above 175. If he clicks even in 2 matches, those 2 matches West Indies will win. So therefore, he remains a force.
There you have, in fact, those graphics
Yeah.
up of Evan Lewis and of Andre Russell, and when they get going, how distracted they are.
Absolutely.
But another player who needs to come back to form, and if he does, things are going to be very different for England, is Owen Morgan.
Yeah.
That is a problem there. I mean,
That is a
not
problem.
only has it been about his captaincy for KKR,
Yeah.
that will raise questions, and a lot of
Yes.
time, I know we were having these conversations amongst ourselves when we spoke about it, about how if there's one captain who didn't deserve to be in the finals, it was Owen Morgan, just because of the way he had captained KKR. But of course, like you said, with England, it's a different ball game. But when you get to batting well yourself, that changes your captaincy, that changes the vibe of the team, the mood of the team.
You're right. I think Morgan's case with KKR is very similar, Meha, to Kohli's case with RCB. When Kohli plays for India, we see another beast coming out. He is inspired. He goes all out. He's not won an ICC trophy as captain for India, but you see the best of Virat Kohli, the batsman for India. Similarly, when Morgan plays for England, you see the best of Ewan Morgan, the batsman. His numbers in T20I cricket, even as a batsman, have been excellent in the last couple of years, although he had a terrible IPL with the bat for KKR this season. I think Morgan, the KKR captain, is not very inspired, but Morgan, the England captain, is very inspired, and that's not very hard to understand. Franchise versus country, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but two players to watch out for from England, I would think, is Jos Buttler and also Adil Rashid, who will play a very crucial role on pitches in the UAE.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their numbers, see, Jos Buttler is one of the most destructive limited overs batsmen. He has an excellent strike rate in T20 cricket. He has a good average. He's one of the most destructive batsmen in the IPL. As far as and he has excellent numbers in T20I cricket in the last couple of years. He's striking at about 150. His average is around 45. Also, Adil Rashid is the champion leg spinner. He is the wicket-taking bowler in the middle overs. He picks wickets. He's very restrictive. Adil Rashid, you know, he's the playmaker for them in the middle overs. And also, Adil Rashid against the West Indies batsmen, who are traditionally not great players of spin, will be, you know, it will be a challenge for the West Indies batsmen how they tackle Adil Rashid in the middle overs.
Why do I get the feeling that this match will come down to West Indies spinners and how they control this match? Because, I mean, you have England who have the experience of Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali, whereas you spoke of the Akhil or the other bowlers.
Fast bowler,
correct. You would think Obid McCoy that they just don't have the experience. So it'll be about how they do in the middle.
Yes, that will be a challenge for the West Indies. They don't have experience in the spin department, and therefore I think therefore West Indies missed a big trick, Meha, by not picking Sunil Narine. I mean, again, politics and with the board, etc., etc.
And how good was Sunil Narine for KKR?
Brilliant. He was brilliant, and he was picking wickets in the UAE leg. He was restrictive. Imagine Sunil Narine in that West Indies lineup right now. So, you know, that they've missed a big trick by not having Sunil Narine, and they will miss a high quality spinner.
And as we speak, the match has begun. 8-0 is West Indies. And we were talking about Evan Lewis. He's just hit Moeen Ali for a 6. So he's started off with a bang. And you talked about his strike rate. But quickly, before we wrap this up, your pick for today's game between England and West Indies?
I want to go with the West Indies, but I just think England, you know, I think England will win this one. Because they have the advantage of chasing, and also they have a very destructive batting unit. They're very hungry, #1 ranked team. They want to win this. I think England will just win this one.
Okay, we'll find out whether Nikhil is right. But thank you so much for joining us here. Enjoy your game, and we'll come back after the first innings to talk more about all that unfolded. Go back to watching cricket.